For everyone who solves crime from their couch, knows more about forensics than their own job, and has trust issues with small-town sheriffs, Amazon Music's millions of podcast episodes are calling. Just download the Amazon Music app and start listening to your favorite true crime podcasts ad-free. Included with Prime.
Every day, excessive delays and denials from big insurers keep patients from accessing the care they need. And when care is urgent, these delays can be disastrous. These practices cost billions in wasteful spending, driving up costs for American families. But while big insurers put up barriers, America's hospitals and health systems are in your corner, navigating endless reviews and appeals to get you the care you need when you need it most. It's time to curb these harmful practices and put the focus back on patients. Brought to you by the Coalition to Strengthen America's Healthcare.
Welcome to Good as Gold, the podcast where we share how Olympic dreams are actually human stories. I'm Sarah Hughes, Olympic champion in figure skating, Salt Lake City, 2002, and your host for this journey behind the medal. Today on Good as Gold, we're joined by Canadian figure skating legend Meagan Duhamel. A two-time world champion, three-time Olympic medalist, and the first woman to land a throw quad at the Olympics, Meagan carved out a remarkable career in pair skating. In this conversation, she reflects on the superstitions that fueled her routines, the heartbreak of Sochi, the redemption of Pyeongchang, and how she balances motherhood and coaching today. Meagan shares candid stories of resilience, perseverance, and her journey in chasing and capturing that elusive Olympic moment. Okay, wow. We made it. We made it. All good. Thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time tonight. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
It's first to feature Olympic champions from different sports. And the gist of it is just to talk about a little bit about you, your life, how you got involved in the sport, what the Olympics was like, how winning changed your life, what you're doing now. It's supposed to be interesting, but also like inspirational, showing how there are many different paths to for people to reach their goals.
I love that.
That's the idea.
And I like your logo. I assume that's what I like. Logo, like the gold medal with the microphone. I love it.
Yeah, and we're trying it out. We got a little thing in the back. It's a little bit of a minimalist decor for now.
I like it. I think it works. I mean, I'm pretty minimalist myself, so I think it's good.
I know, but I feel like you're dressed for summer and I'm dressed for like winter here.
I put my pajamas on like an hour ago when my kids were getting their pajamas on because I forgot we were doing this. And then as I was getting them into bed, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't fall asleep with you. I need to like put on a t-shirt.
Well, thank you for extending your bedtimes.
These days are long. Like by 8 o'clock, sometimes I'm ready for bed.
No, I know what you mean. Like before when we were waking up at like 5 a.m., it was like your whole day is just, it's just so different than when I was training because they're like, you have naps or whatever.
Yeah. Like scheduled time to take care of yourself, which doesn't exist anymore.
Okay, so I made a bunch of questions. I had so many things to ask you, but I'll try to keep things somewhat short. So I thought like we'd ask some warm-up questions and then we can get a little bit more into skating. So like, these are things that people ask me all the time, but I was wondering like what other people would say. So what was your pre-competition routine? Like, did you have any superstitions?
I had like a few. Between my warm-up and when I skated, if I didn't skate first, I usually like ate a banana backstage or like half of a banana, depended how long I had. I don't know why, I just always did that. So then I always had a banana with me because I was like, what if I need it after my warm-up? But like nobody really needs a banana after their 6-minute warm-up, but it was good. And I also had to leave my skate guards on the ground at the door where you get on the ice. So like you have the ice captain and they open up the door for you and they always want to take your guards. And I was like, no, I had to put them on the ground and you're not allowed to touch them. And then I would skate away. And sometimes they moved them once I started skating, but like I didn't want to know. I wanted to put them on the ground. That was it. So like I had these like funny little things I did, like
So
as a lap.
if you skated second after warm up, do you still do the banana?
Like a couple bites as I
Oh,
paced.
so this was like,
Yeah, like I would like pace and take a bite and pace and take a bite. And, you know, if I skated second, it was like 2 little bites. And then I would either finish it later or throw it out. I don't even know how it started. I started doing it and then I probably skated well. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is what I need to do to always skate well. Because, you know, you create those certain scenarios in your brain.
you need a little potassium, the extra. I mean, somebody asked Ilya Nalinin, like, oh, you know, what were you eating in between the warm up and when you skated at Worlds? I think you said like a chocolate bar.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Yes. The Coca-Cola. I used to be Shoma Uno, one of the Japanese boys, like backstage with Coke before shows and before competitions. And I was like, how can you digest that? Wild.
It's like also pretty acidic.
Yes. There's no way it made him feel good.
Mentally, though, it might have been his thing to be like, this is what's going to make me reach that, you know, next level when I get out there. It's going to put me in the zone. All right, when was the last time you wore your gold medal?
Oh my gosh. I've had other people wear it more recently than I've worn it. I don't even know. I wouldn't know. My little kid took it to school last year with her for like parents showing, like to show and tell what your parents did for a living. So I'm pretty sure her whole class and her wore it. But I have no idea when I did last.
Do you keep the whole collection with you? I think you might be the only skater to have the whole collection.
It is pretty cool that I have the whole.
Yeah.
And after having like the silver, it went silver, gold, bronze. And like after having the gold, I was like, okay, well now I just need to get a bronze. They're like, I have like a fireplace mantle in front of where I'm sitting. But to be honest, they're kind of collecting dust on my fireplace mantle. And sometimes my husband puts the remote control or the PlayStation controller on top of my Olympic gold medal. And we had like a house guest at our house for a little while, a skater that we coach. And she was like mortified that we just sat the PlayStation remote controller on top of the Olympic gold medal. She was like, what are you doing? And we were like, oh, we didn't even realize it was sitting there on the mantle.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty... Well,
memories are like more important to me than the hardware. Like,
yeah,
you know, I think about the moments and the memories a lot more often than I go and look at the medals.
But you keep them in your living room.
Yeah.
Oh, so what do your kids think of it? Like, what do your kids understand about it?
Well, my 5-year-old thinks I was a skate pro. That's what she says. Like, you were a skate pro. And I was like, yeah, that sounds cool. I was a skate pro. They don't really like understand that much. Like they see me now as a coach and not as a skater. I've showed them videos sometimes and they're like, was grandma and grandpa watching you? Like that's what they care about. They don't really care about what I was doing.
Did your parents go to the Olympics?
They did, yeah.
They went to both?
My kids are fascinated. Like, where was grandma and grandpa when you were doing it?
That's pretty awesome. As a spectator, what's been your most memorable Olympic moment?
Oh my gosh. Like so many things like you, Tara Lipinski, like skates like Tara Lipinski in Nagano and you in Salt Lake City. Like these were like life-changing for me because that was when I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to go to the Olympics and have my Olympic moment. And I remember like so distinctly when Tara Lipinski won the Olympics and it was like, that's just what I'm going to do. And I had no idea like how you got there. I just started telling everybody like, that's what I'm going to do. And it was like, I'm just going to go to the next Olympics and win. But I didn't like understand the process, obviously. And then there's moments like you have this great skate at the Olympics and you win the Olympics. And everybody that came before me and had those Olympic moments, all I wanted was like to finish a long program at the Olympics and be so excited. That was my ultimate dream.
Did you feel that? Like, well, I mean, we can talk about that in a few minutes. Like, did you feel that when you were standing? Well, I guess it was after your skate because when, you know, in both 2014 and 2018,
you got to perform twice. Like you did, two competitions almost with the team and the singles, right? Or individual.
Yeah, I got to compete like run. I remember I knew I was going to retire after 2. And I was like, I just want to skate on the Olympic ice as much as possible before I never do it again. And I was like, of course I want to do the whole team event and the whole pairs event because it just meant skating on the Olympic ice more and like more opportunities to have those Olympic moments. And at that point in 2018, the only thing missing in my life, like skating wise, was that great Olympic moment. I had great moments at Worlds. I won the world title at so many competitions, but I didn't have that Olympic moment. And it was like, that's what I went to the 2018 Olympics for. And after it happened, I didn't even care if I medaled, if I won, if I came 5th. It was like, that was it. That was my winning moment.
Yeah, that's incredible, especially because like in 2018, I mean, you were 32 years old.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if people understand, but like, it's so rare in skating to have somebody competing at the top level of the sport at the end of a long career.
Yeah. Like peak at that point.
Peak at that point, yeah. I mean, you're one of the oldest Olympic champions in figure skating history. Which I think is pretty cool because, like I won, I was 16. And then I basically, retired after. And then, you're 32 and it's like you have so much more experience too.
Yeah.
That you can really, and I guess like, really know exactly what you want out of it.
I think it is different when you're more experienced and mature like I was. And it's like, you understand like the real world outside of figure skating too, or your sport. You understand the real world outside of the Olympics. And you just have a very different perspective, or at least I did from when I was 16 to when I was, in my 30s competing. And skating fit into my life very differently at 32 than it did when I was 16, 17, 18. I understood balance, the balance of life and having other interests in my life. That was really important to me. And I also knew how to take care of my body in a way that I didn't know as a teenager.
Tell me how you first got into skating and like what made you think like this is something I want to do more of.
Yeah. I had an older sister that skated. So number one, I was like that tag along younger sibling. That happens. And, you have a younger sibling that skated too. So I'm sure that you understand. My sister skated. So I just went to the rink with her and I wanted to do everything my sister did. So the further she advanced in skating, the more I wanted to advance. And she went to nationals once at the novice level. And so that was a huge deal because we're from a very small town and we didn't have like elite coaching or elite training environment. And my sister made it to nationals and she came dead last, but it was like we were at nationals and it was the coolest thing ever. And I took my dad to watch every event, like ice dance, pairs, men's, ladies, everything. And I remember telling my dad, like, one day I'm going to stand on that podium. And our national podium was the shape of a maple leaf, like the Canadian flag. And it was just the coolest thing to like 10-year-old me. And I was like, I'm going to stand on that podium one day. And my parents were like, okay, like this is crazy. And that moment really lit a fire in me that I was like, no, this is really what I want to do. Like, look at all these skaters. They're the best in the country. So I started like getting a little bit more invested in skating. And I always followed skating on TV. And I would always like skate around my living room as I was watching the World Championships on TV. And we would record everything on VHS. Yes. And I'd re-watch those videos. Like, I know the commentary of like every commentator of every World Championship performance throughout the 90s. So I was just obsessed with skating. And my sister really helped like pave the way for that. And she stopped skating shortly after making nationals. Like, that was her lifetime goal. And I just wanted to keep going. So I was super hungry from that experience from my sister.
Were you still just doing singles at that point, or were you also doing singles and pairs?
I was doing singles only until I was 18. So I actually started pairs quite late. I moved away from home when I was 14, from my super small town to like a city about 3 hours away, to be in like a more elite training center. So at the time, this school in Barrie, the Mariposa Skating School, that was where Elvis Stoico had trained. Yeah. and it was like world renowned. So I got to go and train there and have all these top level coaches and a training environment where I saw people that were going to Worlds and Olympics every day. So that was really inspiring. And I competed there throughout my teenage years in singles and, junior Grand Prix circuit, junior Worlds. I won nationals in junior and singles. I went to 4 continents. I did a lot of competitions in singles at the high level before I transitioned to pairs.
It's like super strenuous, I would say, like for practice and competition.
The sport was different, though. I feel like doing a long program with this system now, with all these level 4 skills and complicated footwork, it's more difficult and probably way more draining physically than it was, 10, 20, 30 years ago when like you didn't have to put so much energy and effort into things like spins and stuff like that. So I think like when I started training pairs, I was doing singles and pairs, and I don't remember it being all that tiring. I would do 4 run-throughs a day. I'd do 4 hours. And it was just like, well, this is just what I do. I don't ever remember being really tired. But like, if I tried to do that in my 30s, it would have been very different.
When you were in Barry, is that when you realized like, if I want to become the elite of the elite, I need to treat this like a job?
Yes. Yeah. That was when I saw the elite of the elite, the elite treating it like a job. At that time, the Canadian champion, Jennifer Robinson, was training there, and she worked so hard, and I got to see that every single day. And, they were all wearing their Team Canada jackets, or we'd have skaters from different countries that would visit. And I was like, I want one of those jackets. And we had a whole team of skaters that went to the Salt Lake City Olympics, and they got all their Olympic gear. And my coach went to the Salt Lake City Olympics, and I was like, oh my gosh, what was that like? And I want to go. And being surrounded by that environment was so inspiring. And it was like a hands-on opportunity for me to see what it took to actually reach the top.
So in 2010, the Olympics are in your home country, and you've had like a pretty good career up until that point. Like a lot of people are just like, update their LinkedIn, think about, what they're going to do next. And you decide like, I'm going to go try to find a new partner and give it another go. Like, what was your mindset going into that? Was the Vancouver Olympics a turning point?
I feel like I had a lot of turning points.
Okay.
In 2006, I actually came 4th at nationals, and I skated very poorly in singles, and the top 2 went to the Olympics. And I had an outside / legitimate chance of, kind of being second at nationals, and I skated awful, and I came 4th. So that was like my first like eye opener. Like maybe I could really do this. Like if I had skated well and like really put myself in the right mental space, I could have had a really good shot at going to the Olympics. And then it's like the Olympics, although 4 years is a long time, as an athlete, it feels fast. So it's like, well, there's just another Olympics in 4 years. I'm going to work even harder, and I'm going to do this and this and make all these changes to, my mental game and my fitness. And I'll be better in 2010, and I'm going to make it to the Olympics. At that point, I had started skating pairs with a different partner, and we went to the World Championships, and we came 6th at Worlds once and then 8th at Worlds the next year. So, we were trajecting quite well within the international pairs community. And so 2010 was definitely on the horizon. And it was like, I'm going to go to the Olympics in 2010, and then I'm going to go back to school. That was like my life. But like after 2010's Olympics, in my head, it's like the world went black, because I was like, I'm focusing on the Olympics. That's all I'm going to do. And then after that, I'll deal with going to school or whatever's next. And then at the national championships, where they named the Olympic team, my partner and I did not have our best skate. We were both injured, and we didn't make the Olympic team. And I remember I woke up the next morning and I was like, well, what do I do? I felt so lost. I thought I just planned everything and assumed I was going to go to the Olympics. Because you have to be confident in your plan and in your preparation. So I never even questioned if I wouldn't go. And now I'm waking up and I'm like, what do I do now? My partner was going to retire. He was quite a lot older than me. And I was like, I thought I was going to retire, but I didn't make the Olympics. So then all of a sudden I had to second guess what was next for me. And I went home, and my coaches were like, well, we have this guy, maybe you should try out with him. And I was kind of like, I was so lost. I was like, okay, whatever you want, I'll just do it. And I ended up having a tryout with Eric, who became my partner for the next 8 years, right after her not making the 2010 Olympics.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was like it was a really big turning point for me because it was like, now it's like, here restarts another 4 years. And I didn't think I'd be there in my skating life. I'm so happy I was. I'm so happy I didn't quit after 2010. And I'm really grateful that I had the opportunity to skate with Eric. We did our first initial tryout and it was absolutely disastrous. Our coaches were like, okay, like, let's start training next week. And we were like, did you not see how bad we were? And they were like, yeah, but in 1 week, everything will be fine. So we were like, okay. And for both of us, it was like our last chance. It's like, okay, we're giving this one last go to get to the Olympics. Let's jump in, let's trust it and see where it takes us.
So then when you were named to the 2014 team in Sochi, like that must have been a huge, I don't say relief because, you now invest another 4 years of your life, but you must have felt like also euphoria to be like, now I'm an Olympian, I'm part of an Olympic team. I get the uniform, the walk in opening ceremony, compete on Olympic ice, and then you walk away with a silver medal.
Yeah.
So.
It was different. So by 2014, like my mindset was very different because we had just won our first world medal the year before. So all of a sudden we're like, it's not only about going to the Olympics anymore. Now we're like, well, we want to win a medal at the Olympics. So the mindset shifts a little bit. So I remember when we were like at that nationals, when we got named to the Olympic team, it really was like relief. Like, okay, we did it. Now let's move on. Let's figure out how to win a medal in Sochi. So it wasn't like as much of the euphoric feeling I thought it was going to be. So that was like kind of, I guess, my first hint that I was not in the right mental space at that point. And then we won the silver medal in the team event. We had a great skate in that event. And then we went into our own pairs event. We had a great skate in the short program and then a very poor free skate. And we finished 7th. And I actually spent like the rest of those Olympics feeling like, woe is me, like down on my luck. Like, here I came, I went to the Olympics, I fell, I didn't get my Olympic moment. This isn't fair. Like, we're in Russia, the judging's not fair. This isn't fair, that's not fair. It was really like, and then I saw all my teammates having like the time of their life. And like, I felt so jealous for them. It's like, look they're having so much fun. And like, I didn't skate well and I can't have fun. Like, I really was like, it wasn't a very positive experience at my first Olympics. And that's really what drove into the second Olympics, that like back to that, I just want to have this Olympic moment. I want to enjoy, because I had recognized that, I didn't enjoy my first Olympic experience to the extent I should have.
So then in 2018, now you're 2-time world champions going into the games. So now I was actually going to ask you, because sometimes when people compete in multiple games, like the first one, they're like, I'm going to take everything in and just enjoy the experience. And then the second one, sometimes if they're a contender, for the podium, they're like, I have to be laser focused on this and not really take in the experience. Although I see that much less nowadays, where you just see like everyone who's part of the Olympics really wants to, get some of the experience.
Yeah.
But so for you going into 2018, you're just now like, this is my final season.
Yeah.
I want to really enjoy, like take in the moment.
Yes. Like I was like the reverse probably of like normal people, where when I got to the second Olympics, it was like, if like, this is what I like lived for. This was my dream. I was much more in like a calmer, confident state with myself. I was much older. I did so many experiences between my Olympic games, like between my first and my second, that allowed me to grow as a person, and my partner and I to grow as skaters. And I really got to that second Olympics. I knew it would be my last Olympics. I was very clear with what I wanted. I wanted to skate on the Olympic ice as much as possible. I wanted to like live these moments, and I wanted to have the time of my life. And that was my goals for 2018.
Did you have were you given the option whether you're going to skate 1 or 2 programs in the team event? Or did you just be like, I want to skate as much as possible, so don't worry about subbing us out?
A little bit of that. Scott Moyer, who was the ice dancer from Canada, he was kind of like leading the charge with the team event. So he was like rounding the troops and he would ask everybody, what do you think you're going to do? What do you think you're going to do? And he'd try to get all throughout the season, he was trying to get an idea of like who was going to do what and who wanted to do what. And Eric and I had expressed that we want to do both for various reasons. Number one was that we wanted to skate as much as we could at the Olympics. Number two, we thought that if Canada was going to get the gold medal, it was the smartest decision for us to skate both because we were the top Canadian pair team. And there was a lot of concern from like our head honcho, Scott Moyer, that it wasn't smart for Eric and I to do because the pairs event was the first event after the team event. So we were going to compete 4 times in 7 days, which we'd never done. And you can train all you want, but you can't simulate that. You can't simulate the adrenaline and the emotion of competition.
But you just need 4 bananas.
Yeah. You're like a little bit more. Yeah, okay. I needed to bring 4 bananas to the
to the event.
Yeah.
You know, the competition event, not the practices. Backstage, you just have make sure they're fresh.
Yes, exactly.
Not too ripe, you know?
No. There's like them too ripe, but don't like them too brown. It's like they have to be perfect. Perfect.
Yeah, because there's actually like different starch content in the phase of, how a banana ripens.
Yes, it's so funny. It's true. But yeah,
right, so yeah, go on.
We were leading, like needless to say, we were leading the charge on that. We wanted to do it. We recognized that it was a smart decision, but we also were very strategic about our plan when we left home to go to Pyeongchang for the Olympics. And we were strategic with like our training plan, but also with where we were going to invest our emotional energy. And I remember Patrick Chan was skating the men's event for the team event right before we skated. And I knew I couldn't be that emotionally invested in what Patrick did because I could not risk exhausting myself and exhausting my emotional state on somebody else. So I remember I was like, it doesn't matter what Patrick does, good or bad. I cannot be emotionally invested in this. I need to save all my emotional energy for myself. I'm going to need all of it for the next week. So just being so aware of such small things like that.
I've never skated at team events, so I don't really know what it's like so much. Like, did you feel more pressure in the team event than in the individual?
For the team short, we did. I remember being like, it's like do or die right now. By the time we had done the pairs long program, Canada had quite a big lead where I didn't feel that much pressure by the time the long program came from my team. But I felt that pressure from myself because, it was one of my last chances to have that great Olympic moment.
Did it feel different than 2014?
It did. It did because my focus was so internal and it wasn't on things that I can't control, like results or judges and stuff like that. And I had fell on my triple sow in my long program in 2014. And I remember on the first practice in 2018 on the main rink with the Olympic rings, and I landed my triple sow and I just started crying. It was like I had so much pent up emotions from that moment in 2014 that I guess I just all came out on that practice. And I mean, a triple sow is a fairly easy element for me. But it was like I came to the Olympics and I landed it. I felt like it was like redemption right there.
Actually, so what made you guys think so in my Olympic program, I'm like, okay, I'm going to just try to do the hardest things I can do.
Yeah.
And you guys were the first pair team to do side-by-side triple lutzes, to do a throw quad in the Olympic Games. Did you think this is something I need to be at the top? Or this is just something that I want to accomplish at an Olympic Games? Because the stakes are higher when you're doing elements that other people are not doing.
Yes, but the points are higher too. And I no, it was definitely nobody else is doing this. If to have a chance to win, we need to do this. That was definitely part of it at the beginning of putting those skills in our program. And then once they were in our program and we competed them for so many years, there's no turning back. It's like, this is just what we do. These are the skills that we do. I didn't even know that nobody had landed a throw quad at the Olympics. I was unaware of that until somebody told us after our free skate that we were the first team that ever landed a throw quad at the Olympics. So that was not so much a motivating factor as like at the beginning, the triple lutz and the throw quad are going to help us be champions. We were aware.
Yeah, but you already knew that the other pair teams weren't doing them.
Yes, we knew that nobody was doing it at this competition.
Yeah.
But like there was other things that they did that were better than us. So it's like you're trying to see what you can do better than other people. So like some of the other teams had more complicated choreography and transitions than we were capable of doing. Some of the other teams had harder lifts, bigger twists. So it was like, what could we do that separated ourselves? And that's what we chose.
Do you think that having the gold medal going into the individual event, and especially because it was so close, gave you more confidence or took some of the pressure off? Because now you know you have 2 Olympic medals in 2 appearances so far. And so now you can just go and enjoy yourself as much as possible, or just like, really take in the moment and not feel like tight.
I think it definitely did. And we had great skates in the team event. So that definitely helps because it helped us feel even more confident going into our own competition. And it did relieve a lot of pressure. Number one, because we already went on that ice and competed well. And some of our competitors didn't do the team event. So we saw that as a slight advantage. Like, we've already been out here. We've already competed. We've already done it. And it made us confident a little bit because we kind of threw off a lot of our competitors by doing the full team event. I remember my husband, who was our coach at the time, he said that the Russian coach had come up to him when we did the team event long program. And she was like, they're doing both the team event programs and then they're doing the pairs event. And she kind of laughed. And then after the pairs competition was done and we were successful in the pairs event, she told him, like, I can't believe that they did that. I did not expect their long program in the pairs event, our 4th skate at the Olympics, to be so strong. She was like, nobody saw that coming. And I think like the little bit of like doubt that maybe it created in people of like, would we be tired? Would we be able to do it? I like that. Like, it kind of helped me thrive. I like to be like, well, watch, I'll show you, I'll prove it to you.
The underdog.
Yeah, that's what I felt like. And when we went into the pairs competition, we actually skated right after Aliona and Bruno, who set an Olympic record. They had like the greatest skate in Olympic history. And backstage, you see like these TV screens, and every element that they do, it either comes in as a green box or a red box. A green box means it's like a positive grade of execution. A red box means that it was a mistake. And as I was eating my banana, pacing backstage, I saw all green boxes coming up for Aliona and Bruno. And I remember just that also relieved a lot of pressure for me. I was like, I wasn't skating to win anymore because like I knew I couldn't really beat that. And it was like, I just get to go out there and have my Olympic moment now. They had their moment and now it's my turn to have my moment. And I can't believe, like, and I say this all the time, but like I stepped on the ice for our final long program in the pairs event at the Olympics, so relaxed. And like, no one thinks that you're going to step on the ice for an Olympic program relaxed. But it was the most calming, like serene feeling. Like, it was peace. I felt so peaceful when we skated that program.
I mean, that's your Olympic moment. That's what you said. Like, you're watching, 94, 98, 02, and being like, this is what I want.
Feel calm and centered. And
so I trained with pair skaters leading up to the Olympics. And I knew like pair skating was not for me. First of all, I was too tall. Second, I don't feel like I was brave enough because I see like how fast you guys go, how hard you guys fall sometimes. And it was just like, that takes a lot of courage and trust in somebody.
It's a special personality of female and male pair skaters. It's a very specific personality to, be a successful female pair skater. And it's also a very specific personality to be a successful male pair skater. And it's really funny, but like as a coach, that's something you look for when you're looking at skaters that might be interested in pairs, is their personality. Because you can't really change somebody's personality, but you have to have this innate, like the female has to have this innate grit and feisty energy and fearlessness that that can't be taught. It's very natural.
You feel like, you're like learning how to communicate with somebody, for years, day in and day out.
Yeah.
Has equipped you more for marriage or relationships later in life?
You know what? I always say that skating pairs really taught me how to be adaptable. And I'm a very independent person. Like I think of myself as a very like strong, independent woman, and I'm pretty stubborn and I like to do things my way. But skating pairs really taught me that when you're in a relationship, you need to be adaptable. And it's any relationship. I needed to do it in pair skating. I need to do it in my marriage, and I need to do it as a coach. I need to adapt to my skaters, to each skater differently according to what they need. So that was a great life lesson that I got through pair skating, was that adaptability. And along with that comes communication. And it's interesting because I was an elite single skater. And when you skate singles, you can kind of like do things on the fly. If you need an extra crossover into a jump, you take the extra crossover. If you don't feel like holding your spin that long, you don't hold it. You can't do these things in pairs.
But also yes to exactly what you're saying. But it's like after every competition, or like when you're doing exhibitions and nobody wants to prepare, it's like as a single skater, you can just go out and do what you want.
Yeah. You could do like wing it.
Wing it. Yeah.
I mean, spiral instead of your double axel. Like nobody knows. You cannot do that in pair skating.
Yeah. So it's like a little more extra work for you after everyone's just like relaxing and having fun.
It is. Yeah. You need to be way more organized in that aspect. And it's harder to skate in a show well because you do need to be way more prepared, but you don't usually spend that much time to prepare. So it's this funny, like double-edged sword.
Oh, I want to do this segment. It's called Torture Tin. So torture means something that you think is awesome. Tin is like, I'm not really into that.
The torture is something you think is awesome?
Torch, like fire.
Okay.
I was like, it's awesome.
Okay.
Okay. First, because you've been vegan for a while. So, okay. Vegan options in the Olympic Village. Torture tin.
Oh, tin.
Oh, really?
Not when I went.
I mean, it wasn't that long ago.
No, but I did hear Paris was pretty good last summer. They had a whole revolution of plant-based options and trying to include more of that for the plant-based community.
Okay, I like that. Switching from singles to pairs. Torture tin.
A torch.
Skaters posting parts of their programs on social media before the competition season.
I'm for it. Torch. Yeah, I like to see what they're doing.
Olympic team events being added to more sports.
Torch. More opportunities to compete on their stage, their Olympic stage.
I like it. Parents of athletes going viral during broadcast.
Yeah. Tin. I know.
Even though your kids are like, what were grandma and grandpa doing during
moment? I don't know. Sometimes when it's like organic, I get it. And it like can sense those like nice organic moments. But then there's some that look really staged, not so natural. I'm not all for those.
Yeah, no, I get it.
I guess it depends on which one it is.
Yeah, I know, but some of the sports had just a lot of events. Yeah, which is true. Okay, I like that segment. I think I'll keep that in going forward. Different questions for different people. Battle of the Blades. I want to ask you for a second about Battle of the Blades. I love that show. We don't have it in the U.S. Were you a fan of it before you went on it?
I was. I really wanted to go on it. And then the year before I went on it, I was pregnant. So they had invited me to be a judge, which was really fun and very stressful. I didn't really like judging like my peers. I didn't feel comfortable doing that.
Do you feel different judging than commentating?
Yeah. Because I was part of the decision on somebody going home at the end of an episode. I felt very uncomfortable doing that. I tried to give everyone the same score because it made me feel so nervous. But I definitely always wanted to be part of the show. I thought it would be so cool to teach a hockey player to skate pairs, to showcase my skills on a very different stage.
How much effort did it take to win? Did you think that you had a chance to win going in? Like, or were you just like, because I know the charity meant a lot to you. You skated for a NICU family room at a local hospital, right?
Yeah. And they also supply equipment to NICUs all over Canada as well, this foundation. But I definitely did it to win. Like, it was a lot of work and it was so much fun. I didn't want it to end. So what happens is like every week you compete and somebody's eliminated. But like once it starts, you're having so much fun. And the thing was, we were learning skills for future weeks. So I really wanted to be able to do a double twist with my hockey player partner. And
Did you do a double twist?
Yeah, and a throw triple sow. And so I was practicing these skills. And it's like, we're going to do the double twist on week 5. We're going to do the throw triple sow in the finale. But then I was like, well, what if we don't make the finale and we don't get to use the throw triple sow? So it became like I had to stay in so I can use these skills that we've practiced. And it gets pretty competitive doing those things. But what's interesting about Battle of the Blades was my partner and I, we were really focused on pair skating. And then the other team that was in the finale with us, they were focused on ice dance. So it's really hard to they were the hockey players were trying to learn rockers and counters and brackets, where my hockey player partner was trying to learn a double twist and an overhead lift. I mean, it was very different hard to compare the two.
But pair skating is also those are so much more visible.
Yeah.
Elements.
We did try one week, to be more dancey and showcasey. And the producer of the show told us to stick to pairs. They went, no, that's what you do well. You need to stick to that area. Let everybody out, let the dancers do that.
Would you do more reality TV, or do you not consider that reality TV?
No, I do.
Yeah.
That was really fun.
Yeah.
It was an interesting experience because it was during COVID. So we did get to do live shows. And then we were very isolated within our team. So I had my partner, a coach, a choreographer, and myself. And I was only allowed to be around those 4 people in the show. So we didn't skate with anybody else. And everybody else, everybody had to be very separated in their own change rooms on their own ice. So it was really fun and I had the time of my life, but I'd like to experience some type of reality show that's not like that. I'd love to go on The Amazing Race. There's a show called Traders that Tara and Johnny are going on.
Oh, yeah. I haven't, it hasn't aired yet.
No, not yet.
Yeah.
But Canada's already done 2 seasons of it. And I seriously considered applying for it. So I would love to do more reality shows. But only if I have a chance to win. I don't want to do it. I don't want to eliminate it.
You don't know if you're going to have a chance to win before you're in.
No, but if I had a really good partner for Amazing Race, I'd feel like we could be good.
Yeah.
So, you kind of take those chances.
How did you stay injury-free for 10 years while you're doing, things that are really using your body a lot? Repetitive moments every day. And especially in skating, a lot of it's one-sided.
Yeah. I had little nagging issues. I just never had anything major, which is just really rare at this level of sports. And I was able to learn, a throw quad. And I at one point learned to throw quad lutz, all without being injured. I took care of my body probably no other. I woke up in the morning and I did yoga before I went to the rink. And then I did a 1-hour warm up before I went on the ice. Then I would skate. I would go to Pilates or gym training, whatever my training was. And then I would go and see acupuncturist or an osteopath or an massage therapist or a physio. Every day I saw somebody that took care of my body. And then I'd go home and I would stretch and do yoga some more before bed. So it was I was just nonstop taking care of my body. But I knew that that's what my body was, my tool. Without having a healthy body, my chances of success were so much less.
Do you think that helped you then through pregnancy and then, recovering after you had children?
Probably to a certain extent, but I used up my ability to be so self-consumed with taking care of my body during those years in skating. But once I retired, I was like, and I loved training and I loved taking care of myself like that. Like I loved that more than competing. But after I stopped skating, I stopped channeling in taking care of myself like that because when you're an athlete, like you're so selfish. All I had to do was take care of myself. But like when you're a parent, you have to take care of other people before yourself. So it's very different.
Probably also want to do other things in your life that, broaden your life, expand your horizons. I mean, to be so focused on becoming an elite athlete in whatever sport you're in, it requires you to, you're doing it at the exclusion of other things in your life as well.
Exactly. And, like now, like I have a bad back. I'll forever probably have a bad back. And it's like, my back didn't used to be this bad when I skated. But then I'm like, well, I think about all the things I did, to help my back when I was skating. And then all of a sudden I just stopped doing all those things that helped me keep my back strong and mobile. So of course it doesn't feel so good anymore.
Do you think your kids are going to want to be elite athletes in some sport? I mean, they're so young now.
Yeah, like me 3 and 5. But my 5-year-old skates and she loves it with her little 1-foot spin and her waltz jump. She really started liking it the last couple months, like really on board. And she wants to do off ice all the time because she always sees me doing off ice. So she's like skipping away, like she will skip for 1 hour, like crazy. She does love it. So I don't know like how long she's going to love it for. But when I was a kid, I was my parents introduced me to so many activities. I did skating and gymnastics and soccer, and I had tennis lessons. I did swimming lessons. I did acting classes. I did so much stuff. And then from there, it kind of like funneled into what I liked the most, which was skating. So I think I just want to give my kids as many opportunities as possible and let their passion kind of like be funneled from that.
Oh, yeah. I love that. I love how she skates.
But
how old were you when you started skating?
I was 3.
Okay, same. I was 3.
Probably even like 2 on outdoor rinks with my parents, like when I was really young. But my 3-year-old, like she can hobble and take a few steps on the ice right now. And she thinks she could skate. Like my 3-year-old's like, I can skate. I can do it. Let go. But like, she can't make it very far once you let go of her. But they like it. I think it's like my husband and I are at the rink all the time. So they will also see being at the rink as like being with mom and dad.
Yeah.
So it'll be hard to tell, I think, at one point if they like skating or they just want to be with us.
Well, I think you'll be able to tell at some point. But I mean, like, probably I feel like it's like, a family tradition in a way.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like also like being Canadian, you have to know how to skate, even if it's only a little bit.
Well, my 5-year-old loves to go to outdoor rinks. Like every winter she wants to go. There's like a loop, like just an outdoor loop by our house. And she's always asking to go and skate on the loop. And then she goes and there's like a radio in the background and she's skating around, she's moving her arms. The other day at skating lesson, she did a spiral and she started like doing these arm movements in her spiral. And I was like, did your coach ask you to do that? And she's like, no, I just felt like doing it. And I was like,
oh, you don't coach her?
Well, no, not like the program she's in, she's got different coaches that aren't us. She has to learn to listen to other people. It's good for her. No, she wants us to coach her. So I told her like once she gets better and she like the more she improves, then mommy or daddy can be her coach.
One thing I've always admired about you is that you are just like always pretty outspoken. Which in skating is not always like a lot of skaters are not outspoken when they're competing. Are you raising your kids? Like, do you encourage her to be outspoken, or is she just that way?
Well, I think they're just that way. Genetic. But I wouldn't not encourage it.
Yeah.
To some extreme, I think it's good to stand on your own 2 feet and to fight for what you think is right. And that's what I feel like I try to use my voice for. It's, fight for things that I believe in, and things that I think, when something is wronged, I want to fight for the right of that. But also like doing it respectfully and nicely. And that's something like, you have to learn as you go.
I so appreciate you doing this. I have so much respect and admiration for you. Like, but it's like your longevity in the sport, and now, giving back to the sport. And I feel like, having coaches like you in it, like still involved within the sport helps it be better. Because I know you, like, if you think something's wrong, you're going to speak out against it.
Yeah, I try to. I mean, like now sometimes I think I have to be like a little bit more careful, but no, I try to as much as I can.
And also, like, being at an elite level, I feel like you've seen a lot of different phases of people's career, and you can support your athletes, in unique ways that might help them in their life, not just in their sport.
Yeah, like I always say, I think like I got to like gain so much experience and learn so many lessons, and like the best way to use that is to share it with people. Like I got to like gain so much from all of the experiences that I got in skating and throughout my life from skating. And now it's my turn to share it with somebody else. Otherwise it's useless information. So I also like try to, the more people that can learn a little bit sooner some of these lessons than I was able to learn them, they'll be better off a lot earlier than I was.
I feel like they'll listen to you because you've been through it.
Yeah, I think so. Most of them do. You go to competitions like in the States and stuff.
So we went to the World Championships.
Yeah, you went.
Yeah, we went, and I brought my daughter and my in-laws came, actually. It was their first time ever coming to a competition.
Oh.
They loved it. They had a great time. Yeah, now they're hooked.
Like,
it was
the energy was so good there, right? So that's a good one to see.
Yeah, I was going to say, I kind of want to I do want to go in February to Italy, but I think like we'll see how we're doing because, hopefully everything goes well.
Traveling with babies and children is so funny because when I had my first, when she was 4 months old, I took her to Korea for 4 continents, like 1 month before COVID shut down the world.
Okay.
But like in hindsight now, if I had another baby now, I would never travel to Asia with them when they're 4 months old for a skating competition. Like that was the most ridiculous thing I ever did. But it's so funny how it's like, you just do it and you don't even think about it. And it's just, you find a way to make it work. But definitely not ideal. I do not recommend you have a 4-month-old unless necessary, trekking them around the world. That was very, very difficult.
Okay, that's a good piece of advice for me.
I wore her in a backpack at the boards at 4 continents. Like
you get little earmuffs for her.
She was just sleeping. She was so small, folded right into the backpack. I had earmuffs, but they were too big. And she just, at 4 months old, they do sleep all the time. So that part was easy. She was just always sleeping. But she just like lived in my backpack, attached to me for an entire year that I worked. Both my kids. The number of times I worked with one kid in a backpack on me and one kid in a wagon watching TV on my phone while I was at the rink, like it happened so. But then you find your people, like some parents would be like, oh, I'll take the kids, I'll watch them, I'll take them to go color or do something. And then I'd be like, my coaching session would end and I was like, who did I give my kids to? Like what parent wants my kids right now? I don't even know. Some lady came, she said her kid skates on this session. I don't even know her. So I got to meet a lot of skating parents through my own kids because they were helping me so much, which was really great. But yeah, with my second, she just like fell into the routine with the first. And it was easier than I thought it was going to because of that. Yeah, that was like a little bit easier. But we're done. I'm not having another one. I don't have like the mental fortitude for a third kid right now.
It's a lot. And then I you tour through both your pregnancies. How did you manage that?
It's one of those things that like
you just moment, did it, or you're just like, I'll be okay.
And you're like, how did I do that? And I was 4 months pregnant when Stars and Ice finished. Like I was like starting to show. I was really, by that point, I was starting to feel every single day or second day that we performed, I'd gained a little bit of weight. And I had to reset my balance point every 2 or 3 days. And it was getting really, really tiring to do that. So when that Stars and Ice tour ended, I was like, I cannot skate another day. Like if there was a show tomorrow, I don't think I could do it. I think like this was my max. And then 1 year later is when I did Battle of the Blades. And then I got pregnant again, like within the next year. So I didn't skate with my second, but I was pregnant till I was 4 months pregnant with my first, but I wasn't sick or anything. Like, having to adjust to like my body changing. I was okay. I was feeling okay. And we didn't do, I mean, I skated pairs. We still did lifts, but I wasn't doing any throws or anything that I had a chance to fall on.
Did you tell anyone that you were pregnant? Like, did Eric, I'm guessing Eric knew.
At the end, the beginning, I didn't. Like, I was in Japan at Stars and Ice, like 1 month after I found out I was pregnant. Nobody knew. Like, I was like, it's too soon to tell anybody. And you wouldn't have been able to tell by looking at me at that point. So I just continued along like normal. We had like our throws and our lifts in our program like normal. And then we got home from Japan, Stars and Ice, and Canada started. And that's when like I was about 3 months along. And then I told people.
I was so nervous.
Just so you know, like, I can't fall. Stay away from me. Nobody trip me. Be careful.
I can't buy it. It's not just me anymore.
Yeah, I've got to be really careful. Wow. But it was one of those things where, like, after it finished, it was like, what was I doing? How did I do that? I'm not too sure I could do that again.
Or you'd want to do it again.
No, I don't think so.
Right? I mean, it's a lot.
No. It wasn't that pleasant. Like, I was just tired all the time.
Yeah.
Tired. And then, like, every 2 days you're doing a show and, you know, I don't skate one day and then I skate. My body's already changed after a couple of days and I have to reset my center of gravity. And it was not very fun. No. And then, unfortunately, that was my last tour. I didn't know it because then after that, COVID had happened. There's no tours for a while. And then my partner decided to skate with somebody else. So I didn't I actually feel like a little bit of that like Sochi resentment to my last skating tour that I wish I would have enjoyed it a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, but you wouldn't know then. I mean,
yeah, no.
Like, yeah.
You only know.
But like, it's, I think it's hard to know when it's going to be over too. You know, like you do all this stuff and like now I see, I mean, you know, I had like the last wave of the 90s when skating was like everywhere. And there were so many opportunities to skating. And I did so many shows. And for the skaters today, like that's one of the things that it's hard for me to see that, you know, these skaters like, you know, top of the world, like elite skaters, best in the world. And there's just like not the same type of opportunities for them to make a living.
Yeah, not at all. We were really lucky after 2018 because Tessa and Scott were so famous in Canada. They ran a 36 city tour. It was 3 months long. And we went across the country and it was called the Thank You Canada Tour. And they included everybody like from that Olympic gold medal team. But it was really like, it was the Tessa and Scott show. And then we were part of their gold medal team. So we were included. But that was really cool. Like we sold out stadium after stadium after stadium. And it was like, and we were all like this, and Elvis was on that tour. And then we were all like, was this what skating was like in the 90s? Like, is this close to what it was like? Because there was a lot of interest in that tour. There was big audiences. There was a really special energy. And it was fresh off of 2018. It was the perfect timing for us to do something like that.
Yeah, it's so special to skate in those things where like the crowds are so excited about it because they bring this energy. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, I'd say it's weird for me, but it's like some of the skaters who are the same age. It's like we're a different generation of the sport.
Yeah.
But I mean, like the skating in the 90s is just like so popular here, which I'm guessing like in Canada, maybe they had that in Canada because like when my in-laws came to Boston, they were so excited to meet Nancy Kerrigan. because they remember like, oh, she was on TV a lot. And like, she was a big skater. And I always think like, is skating going to have that renaissance again? What can the sport do differently? I think the team event was actually helpful because it gave skating another event. And also it's much easier to follow because it's not, like you can look at like the, looking at, 1 point, 2 point, 3 points or, smaller numbers as opposed to each element and levels and grades of execution that are harder to follow.
And I think Elia is helping the popularity of skating in the US. Like, it's definitely still at a higher level in the US than it is in Canada. Like, in Canada, we have nothing. Our federation has no sponsors. We don't have skating on TV. There's not much interest at all. But in the US, like Elia and Chalk and Bates, and Alyssa and Amber, they're still creating a pretty popular environment where nationals, when I watch anyways on TV, US nationals still has this electric energy from the audience. Maybe not the same as it used to be, but it's still way better than what we have happening.
Really?
But even when we have shows now, Kurt and Elvis are still the headliners.
They're still the headliner in the US too.
Yeah. People still go to shows to watch, that's the generation that's attending shows. At least here, the people following skating are still the Elvis and Kurt fans. They're still making a great career out of it.
They are. I mean, we were going through Canadian figure skating Olympic medalists before this. And I was asked my husband to pull people up. And then he was so Brian Orser had 2 silvers. And he's you said it was Elvis. And I was no, they both had consecutive silvers. It was Brian had the 2 silvers and then Elvis did. And I was yeah, so they were, top of they were in the conversation. People who are in the Olympics, they see Canadian figure skating.
Yeah, they did.
Although for you guys, was it 2001 Worlds, Jamie and David won, and then no Canadian pairs champions until you.
Yeah.
It was 14 years.
Yeah. Pair skating was still quite strong in Canada there, with lots of teams winning international medals, but nobody really at the top until we did. And then Deanna and Max won a couple of years ago.
Do you know I competed against her in singles?
Well, I was a fan of Deanna when she got a 6.0 at the Kerry Lotion Classic, which you were probably that competition. I don't know. But she got a 6.0 at the Kerry Lotion Classic. And I remember as a child watching stuff like that on TV. There used to be those type of competitions.
Yes, we used to have a lot of made for TV competition. You need to make it just fun and very simple. And I mean, now I was
almost dumb it down in a way. I did try a couple of years ago. Well, 2016, they tried to make this fun team competition. And so we were Team North America, and then there was Team Europe and Team Asia. And Team North America, Christy Yamaguchi was our coach. So she sat in the kiss and cry with me. She sat in the kiss and cry with us to receive our marks. Team Europe had some famous European, I don't remember who. And I think Lu Chen was Asia's. Anyways, they tried to bring back these iconic skaters, and they were this is your coach. So our coaches were there, but then Christy was the face that sat with us in the kiss and cry and stuff like that. And so they really tried, and I thought it was fun competition, but they only did it once. So I don't know if it wasn't successful financially for them or what. And they gave us huge checks, game show checks. Yeah. That was so cool. They presented us with game show size checks, and it was really fun. Everybody only did a long program. There was no short program. You only did a long. And we were on the 6-minute warm up with the men. I remember being on a 6-minute warm up with Adam Rippon. And I was this is so weird. And there seemed to be a good audience there, but I don't know what happened. It never picked up. They never kept doing it.
When was this? Recently?
2016.
Oh, okay. So
it was a U.S. skating event. So after Worlds, the best North Americans, the best Europeans, the best Asians, we all went there. It was in Spokane. I thought it was a great idea. And the skaters had so much fun. And there was so many great skates because all the skaters were having so much fun.
Yeah.
We're skating great. you did your like long program that you had just done at Worlds. And I don't know, I thought it was so successful and then it never happened again. So I always wondered like what behind the scenes.
Yeah. So like more stuff like that. That's when I think,
And I like how they were trying to bring back skaters. Like that was cool. Like at that point, I'd never met Christy Yamaguchi. So I was like, that's cool. She's part of my team now.
yeah, I mean, that was the cool thing when I was young skaters that they do like pro-ams and there was like 3 made for TV competitions a year. It's like so cool to get invited to. And so it was like September before the season started, December, there was one. And then in April after Worlds, there was a third. And it was just like, you know, amateur versus pros, USA versus the world. I don't remember the title, but it was just like, it was just fun. Yeah, Carrie Lotion Classic. Exactly. That's what it was. But it's like, you know, I was like always so inspired by them. Like I would be obsessed with like watching VHX tapes, like you said.
Yeah.
Like we would tape them. I'd like memorize everything.
Yep.
I knew everyone's programs.
And you know what bad is that kids today, they like skaters. So I coach from 6-year-olds to world champions. Like I coach every level. And kids today, they don't know skating. Like if I asked a 10-year-old I coached, like, do you know who Sarah Hughes is? They'd be like, no. I showed them videos of Michelle Kwan and they're not even like impressed. And I'm like, she's like one of the greatest ever. And they're like, well, she didn't do a triple Lutz, triple toe or a quad. I'm like, no, it's not about that. Like, look at her beautiful change of edge spiral or like, you know, things like this. Like kids don't follow skating. Like I feel like we used to when we watched VHS tapes and when skating was always accessible. Like we had all these competitions to watch. Every weekend skating used to be on TV all the time. Skaters don't even like, skaters themselves don't even follow the sport. And I feel like that's such a shame.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think part of it is that it's harder to follow now.
It is.
But it's in the US, it is a little bit harder to follow. I know in I went to Pyeongchang, which actually that was like, you know, I love seeing the skating. But we were in the cafeteria and I hadn't met Brady Tanella, who is a US skater.
Yep. And
so I went over to say hi. She had no idea who I was. And my husband was like, is this really embarrassing? After he's like, is this really embarrassing for you? Because she was like trying to read my name tag. And then she's like, you know, she didn't know. And I'm like, afterwards, I was like, I don't know. It's like not really embarrassing for me. I was just like a huge fan of I just knew all the skaters from like the decade before when I was skating, but it's just different, you know?
And I remember when I was a kid, I watched something on TV and Michelle Kwan said, if you want to be the best at something, you have to research it and you have to know it. And I was like, well, Michelle Kwan said that. I have to research skating and know everything about skating because Michelle Kwan said that that's what you need to do. So then I was like, I want to be like her, so I'm going to do that. And like, we saw this stuff. I don't know.
I know, but there was like always coverage of her too. But yeah, I mean, I remember the Nagano Olympics, like watching it on TV and just like following everything. I was just like so interested in all of it and the history of the sport. But look, I mean, I know I see Ilya Melinin and he's pretty interested in, I think, like knowing everything that's going on in the sport. But it also might be like I compete against his mom. So I feel like his parents probably have some type of influence in being like, this is like, you know, the history of the sport.
Yeah.
Or
he seems to have that personality that like he wants to be like a bit of a show off or like a know-it-all. So he like at the end, which is good. That's why he like captivates audiences. He has that compelling command and energy. But I think like he likes to have that type of information too, because it makes him feel important. But it's funny how in a world where like social media is so big, where like when we watched the Olympics in the 90s, like if I think about Nagano, I just had to wake up in the middle of the night and watch it on TV, like with the time change. But I followed it so much more closely through that than kids do now when they can see things online in an instant. Like yeah, it gives you like a good little good sense of community to be part of like a sporting group.
Are there a lot of people that like where you live who go to that rink?
Yeah, our rink where we coach at is quite big, like where my little one skates too. It's one of the biggest skating clubs in Canada by numbers. There's thousands of skaters. We have 4 rinks in our arena, and 3 of them are used for figure skating all day. So we have big numbers in our program. We have like a recreational program, a competitive program, a pairs program, synchro, and then learn to skate, like the basic learn.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's quite large, and like, I mean, now at this point, everybody knows our kids there and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a nice community though. Like the kids are all like super sweet that skate there, and then I coach, and yeah, good place to be part of.
I love it. Okay. Oh, I'm going. You wanted to go to bed at like 7. Now
I always could go to bed that early. It's all good. It's all good. It was really have a good night.
Okay, you too. Good night.
Bye.
Make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and join us on this journey. And remember, behind every gold medal is a story worth telling.
Every day, excessive delays and denials from big insurers keep patients from accessing the care they need. And when care is urgent, these delays can be disastrous. These practices cost billions in wasteful spending, driving up costs for American families. But while big insurers put up barriers, America's hospitals and health systems are in your corner, navigating endless reviews and appeals to get you the care you need when you need it most. It's time to curb these harmful practices and put the focus back on patients. Brought to you by the Coalition to Strengthen America's Healthcare.
Instacart makes grocery shopping easier. And just because you're not doing the shopping yourself doesn't mean you don't care how it's done. With Instacart Shopper Notes, you can get particular about what you want right in the app. Like rotisserie chicken that's extra crispy, steak with marbling the Romans would have loved, and lettuce you'd actually pick yourself. Just leave a note for your shopper so they can get it right for you without having to ask. That way, you can get groceries just how you like. Download the Instacart app and shop today.